Cookie preparations vary and ultimately result in differences in texture and flavor. One of the common ways of making cookies is through the creaming method, where the butter and sugar are creamed together, creating air pockets. The chemical leaveners, baking powder or baking soda, will then occupy these air pockets. When exposed to heat in the oven, they will expand, creating lift and volume in the cookies. The temperature of the butter and eggs is one of the most important factors of this method. If the butter is too warm, the sharp sugar crystals will not penetrate the butter and will not create air pockets. If the butter is too cold, the sugar won't evenly incorporate into it. In addition, if the eggs are cold, they will separate, and it will appear that your mixture looks like scrambled eggs. Chocolate chip cookies are one of the most common examples of the creaming method. Start by creaming the fat and both sugars and the salt in the mixing bowl with your paddle attachment. Keep the mixer on low to medium speed. Be sure to scrape down the bowl, but when properly creamed, this should look and feel a little gritty. Should feel, between your fingers, it should feel like sandpaper. And should be fluffy and fluff up around the paddle attachment. I'm going to slowly add the eggs one at a time. Scrape down before adding the last of the eggs. And vanilla. Before you add your dry ingredients, you've got fully incorporated eggs into your fat. In a separate mixing bowl, you'll want to sift your dry ingredients, which will be your flour and any of your chemical leaveners. Remember, we're sifting them together to make sure that the chemical leaveners are evenly dispersed throughout the flour, but also this does give us greater lift with our product when we sift the flour ahead of time. You can scrape the egg and sugar mixture and fat mixture into the bowl. Gently fold the two together. Make sure you're going around the sides of the bowl, turning the spatula up and then inward. Mixing this part by hand with the spatula does help control the gluten, resulting in a softer cookie. Now we're ready to add the chocolate chips or nuts or any other inclusions that you'd like to add to the mixture. And just as before, just gently fold them in with the spatula. When they're uniformly incorporated, then we're going to scoop the dough using a portion scoop to ensure that each cookie on the tray are uniform. When scooping, make sure that you pack the scoop. We don't want to have cookie dough all around the outside of the portion scoop, but we also don't want, a half-filled cookie scoop. We want the entire scoop, as it's a portion scoop, to be filled up. So you can drag it along the side of the bowl to help make sure that it's packed. When you drop them onto the sheet pan, stagger them so that they don't bake into each other. The baking time varies depending on the size and desired chewiness or crispiness, but can range from approximately 8 to 14 minutes. The outer edges should be browned and the center of the cookie should look dry. Once the cookies are done, remove them from the oven and allow to cool slightly before transferring to a cooling rack. Your cookies will keep in an airtight container at room temperature for up to 1 week. One of the many great things about cookie dough is that you can also portion it, wrap it well, and store it in the freezer to be made at a later date. The frozen dough can be portioned out on a baking sheet and baked immediately while cold. Freezing dough is a great time saver as it can be stored up to 3 months. The creaming method allows you to easily see what can be improved or altered to make the next batch even better than the last. With the sugar ratio, for example, more brown sugar results in a chewier cookie, and more white sugar leaves you with a crunchier end result. Baking time and size are also an easy way to refine the exact texture you desire. However you experiment, cookies master this essential baking technique.